Jared.
I would be quite lucky because I did. I worked for 6 months within the dog department. The only way I could describe it is I don't really like dogs. I'm quite scared of dogs. They do bite. But I was quite lucky to work within the department where we train dogs. We used to have German Shepherds and Alsatians. Lately, we're going away from them and we're going towards Malinois. I don't know if you've seen any of them. It's an Austrian, I think, an Austrian breed. I'll tell you a fact. How much do you think a police dog costs? We'll take a guess. Okay. Each dog, right, each police dog is worth a minimum of £3,000. Right? Now, if we train a dog, we could sell that dog to another police force for anything up to £10,000 because we put a lot of effort into training these dogs. We recently bought 2 new dogs for West Midlands Police, and we trained these dogs, and it took us a long time to train them, but we needed these dogs because we were hiring them and getting them from, I think it was West Yorkshire, and we were paying a lot of money, so we decided to train our own. Now these dogs are trained to such a high level that, do you know, if somebody was killed and buried, these dogs can sniff them out. So they could sniff the ground and they could tell you. Basically they're blood dogs, so wherever, if you cut your hand and put a bit of blood on a tissue and you hid that tissue anywhere, that dog will come and find that tissue, it'll sniff it out for you. It's the same as drugs dogs. So we do have a lot of dogs, and we train a lot of dogs as well, and they're very, very helpful. Along with the rights, they'll bite you as well if it's anything.
Brother, you have a question?
Can you also emphasize the importance of the respect agenda? Because whilst our youngsters are under 18, I find discipline very important. Actually, if they don't respect the parents as role models, in life they will regret it. They have to listen to the parents. Discipline comes from home. You can't blame the state, you can't blame local authorities. Could you emphasize how important it is whilst they're on the they have to consider?
Okay, I'll give you my story. Yeah? I'm a second son in my family, and I'm a sergeant. But when I walk into my mom's house, and she says sit, I sit. If she says jump, I say how high. I'm still just another son in the family. I'm not a sergeant, and even to this day, my mum and dad, I've never disrespected them. I've never disrespected them because if it wasn't for them, I would not be standing here today. Right? If it wasn't for them looking after me when I was little, changing my nappies, feeding me, this, that, yeah? It wasn't, I couldn't do that for myself. Now I can do that for myself. It's not a time to forget them. It's actually a time to look after them in their old age. So it is utmost importance, and the Dean teaches you that. No doubt the Maulana has probably told you that actually the respect of your mum and dad is greater than most things. It's pretty much up there. It's pretty much up there in the Dean. So at all times, you know, it's not just respect the police. Actually, your respect starts at home. When you leave the front door and you're in the outside big world and you encounter the police, that's a secondary respect. But your respect of your mum and dad, you can't measure it. It goes without saying. Bang on. You've got to respect your mum and dad. Absolutely.
I think my story, I haven't got any brothers. I have 3 sisters that are younger than me. I've got children of my own. I've got 2, a girl and a boy. Exactly the same as Mustafa. If I go home now, my dad is so big. If I say anything that's out of order to my dad, he'll still feel the need to tell me off or slap me. Because you're never too old or never too big not to listen to your parents. There's 2 very important people in your family and the wider world. First, it's your parents. You must always listen to them. And second, it's your ustads. Whether they're your school teachers or whether they're in Madrasah and they're your ustads, because they have on par the same respect you ought to give them as you give your parents. You know, if your mum and dad say to you that this isn't going to happen today or I'm not letting you do it, they're not doing that because they want to be mean to you or nasty to you. It's because they know why. They've been there and they've done that and they've seen what goes wrong with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they're telling you for a reason. Not because they don't like you, it's because they love you more than anything on this earth. and they wouldn't want any harm to come to you. But to say what the brother said behind there, you know, number one rule in life is to make sure that you respect your parents, because I fully agree, respect is bred from the home, and it starts from home.
You're all under 18, so you're under your parents' guardianship. Whether you like it or not, you must listen to your parents. Okay, this is very big. If you don't get it right, you're going to get in trouble in this outside world. The reason I'm telling is I'm worried about our youngsters following the role model. Why are boys wearing trousers, saggy trousers, with boxer shorts exposed? What sort of role model is that? That's the reason why you have to listen from home. Your discipline comes from home. For God's sake, start from home. Otherwise, you're out of it.
And it's important what's been said there. You know, it's very easy to have your footballers as role models, to have your cricketers as role models. But actually, the success, if you want role models, you have to find them in the deen. You understand that? If you want success in this world, and you want to do well, you have to find your role models in the deen, and you will get success. Your David Beckhams and your footballers ain't going to bring nothing for you. You can look up to them all you like. What are you going to get out of it? Absolutely nothing. And the other thing you've got to remember is this, right? It's very important. As police officers, we have arrested under 18-year-olds. Under 18-year-olds, and the first thing we do is take them straight to their parents. And they are very, very upset when we do that. Why? Because the parents have that discipline over them. You don't want to be one of those kids that wants to be taken back to their parents, do you? That would be nice. So, listen, give me a promise, give us a promise, you will not disrespect your parents. All of you say we'll promise, yeah? Okay, that's good enough. Any other questions? Yeah, then we...
You know, because you've had a very long career in the police department, so, you know, in your experience over the last 25 years, you know, the Muslim criminality, do you think it's increased? Or especially, you know, nowadays, the media and the coverage that Muslims are getting?
From when I joined the police, the experiences I had within the organisation were very tough. I'll give you an example. I was based where Shaq's working at the moment, which is in Solihull. And in Solihull at that time, there were no brown faces, there were no black faces. Never, just in the community, but in the police force there were. So when I was first posted there, I used to go to a call and respond to a call, go to people's houses, and they used to open the door and go, can you just hold on, take my collar number, phone the police station and say, is this guy for real? And then they used to let me in the house. So what I'm trying to say is, in those days, there was very little in terms of police officers within the force. And when I used to work and lock people up, I used to see very few Muslims. But as time went on, the biggest problem with Muslim youngsters is gang violence, drugs and robberies. That is the biggest. And if you come into Acox Green, King's-Eve, Steelhouse Lane, 90% of the cells are filled with Muslim youngsters. Because they want to achieve success through shortcuts. They think there's a shortcut to life. I want a fast car so I can get this. I want this, I want to do a quick robbery. I'll be part of the gang to make me, give me status and give me that I'm tough. And it's that sort of what I call misguided ideology that's making our youngsters end up in the cells. And when they actually come through the whole process and they have a conviction and they then reflect, some of them actually think, what have I done? And it's a bit late, because when you have a conviction for robbery, which is very serious, chances are you will never get a job. And what do you do then? You go back to what you knew that was giving you something, whether it be through criminality, whether it's friendship, through gangs, being a gang member, whatever. So it's one of those very dangerous roads that once you get into it, it's very hard to get off. And there's only two or three things I've seen that's made people come off. And that is, one is definitely the deen. I've seen what the Jamati people do, how they get youngsters who have been hardcore criminals and take them away for 40 days and they come back and mashallah, they're off the track. I've seen that. But I've also seen some work being done locally by yourselves, by Molanas, to talk to people, and it's only the deen that reaches people and changes their ways. So really, yes, I have seen a massive increase, and I'm sure Shaq will endorse that.
I think if ever you look around, especially Britain, we've got a lot of jails, haven't we? We've got one up the road, Mincing Green, which is just there. Do you know over 30% of people inside the jails are Muslim? Yeah, that causes... So I was reading the facts and how many prisoners, because there's a couple of Madrasahs I know that work within the prisons, and they're imams inside the prisons, and there's so many Muslim brothers that are there that are Muslims. Now, it saddens us because you shouldn't be there, because Muslims, especially the youth, you should be role models. You know, if you've got brothers and sisters, they should look up to you and think, well, my brother's becoming a police officer, or my brother or sister's becoming a doctor, a lawyer, right? And you should be role models. Don't let, you know, these boxer shorts showing and these silly, because you might think it looks cool, but I can promise you, you look like a clown.
You do look like clowns, honestly.
You might think, oh look, I look really cool with these trainers and my boxers. It doesn't look cool at all. When I was young, I used to love having lines and my hair cut, you know, like really short from the sides. And I mean, I haven't got any hair now, but I used to think that looks cool. And my dad would tell me off.